Yes, my friend, you're an entrepreneur. You're a freelancer. You're a business career professional trying to make your mark. And that's exactly what I said. If you don't have a variety of DWI convictions, you will not be successful. My name is Stan Hustad, and I've got a long-time career as a teacher, an international broadcaster, and a business performance coach. And I'd like to help you put your game not on a next level, but on a whole new stage so that you can demonstrate to people how good you are. And as you demonstrate that, your influence will grow, your impact will be bigger, and you'll make more money. Your income will grow. And income is not just money, income is all of those good things that we're seeking in life. And I'm going to help you do that. But you see, DWI, that surprised you, because for most people that means driving while intoxicated, driving while under the influence of drugs or alcohol. And that's usually what it does mean. But we're going to think differently, and I'm going to show you in this short, powerful course, I'm going to challenge you to figure out that if you want to be successful, there's a whole new view of what DWI stands for. And as you watch the first preview, you'll begin to discover just what it is. And when you seek success, you're also going to have to walk into the world, you're going to have to be on stage, and you're going to have a variety of DWI convictions. And we're going to help you figure that out and then how to do it, because when you do, your whole business and your whole life will change. The more DWI convictions you have, the better your life, the better your success, and the greater impact, influence, and income that will come into your life. So join me and we'll experience that success together. Thank you for watching the promo. And now let me introduce myself in the class in a little more detail. Yes, my name is Stan Hustad, and I am the founder of What It Takes. We call it WIT, What It Takes. We're helping people do what it takes, to discover what it takes, to design a plan, and then to do what it takes to reach the important goals and the success marks that we want in our life and business. We're going to discover what it takes, and then we're going to do what it takes. Now, I've been doing this for a variety of years. I've been in radio and television, teaching, public speaking, writing, and what I want to do is come to you with this short course. Now, all of my courses are short. Some of them are an hour and 15 minutes, but that's kind of a longer one. Most of my courses are 30 minutes long. You know, you've heard the TED Talks? 20 minutes. What we're going to do is we're going to take one powerful subject and we're going to look at it. And in that 20 to 30 minutes, we're going to learn a whole lot about that one single success element that will help you do what it takes. And then you don't say, done with it. Then if it's really smart, you go back and you listen to it again, and maybe 3 times. You see, if you have a course that's 3 to 5 hours long, most of it you'll forget. And most of you will never even finish that course. But this is a short course because you're busy, because you want to not just learn something, you want to get out there and do something that matters and makes a difference. And so that's what this class is all about. We're going to help you take the subject. We're going to help you learn 3 smart and good things about it. We're going to give you a project to put it into action, and then we're going to help you find out how you can use that to increase, as I said, your influence, your impact, and your income. So, thank you for joining me, and here we go. Yes, good friends, I stand by my statement. Unless you have a number of DWI convictions, you will not be successful as a freelancer, as an entrepreneur, as a solo professional, as a person who wants to make their mark in life and business today. Now, of course, I got your attention. You see, I know that in today's world that the hardest thing to do is to get people's attention. And you know what the next hardest thing to do, maybe even more harder than getting their attention, is to actually help people take action. Attention and action. And you have to understand that if you want to be successful in your life and business, you actually have to help people by, first of all, getting their attention and then inspiring them and making it possible for them to take action. There's one great source of wisdom for you right there. Now, DWI does not mean driving while intoxicated. Of course not. But what it means is this, and please listen carefully: demonstrated wisdom and insight. Demonstrated wisdom and insight. And I remember when this first came to me, I was helping a guy in the insurance and financial services business where I did a lot of work. And of course, there's financial plans and there's insurance policies. Policies and plans. Policies and plans. And as he was putting those forward, I leaned forward and said, "Steve, this is from the insurance company and this is a plan. Let me tell you, Steve, I've worked in this industry to know is everybody has a policy. Everybody has a plan. The stuff is about the same." In fact, just to give you an example, the other day I was talking to a banker and I pulled out a $20 bill. And I said, is this $20 bill any different from the bank across the street? And of course he looked at me. Of course, it's a $20 bill. So your $20 bill isn't any different than their $20 bill. He said, "Well, Stan, what are you getting at?" And I said, "Well, why should I come to your store to get the $20 bill rather than that store to get the $20 bill? Why is your store, why should I do business with your money store rather than their money store? What makes you different?" And he just kind of paused. Here's the difference, as I said, just as I said to my friend. I said, you have to show to your clients and prospect that within you, not within your stuff and not within your service, within you, there's incredible wisdom and insight, and that you demonstrate it to them so that you become one of a kind. Demonstrated wisdom and insight. Those rare, rare qualities. Wisdom and insight. And what you are all about is giving evidence that you have wisdom and insight. Now, I remember a couple statements that went something like this. One of the pastors in a church was trying to influence his people within the Christian faith and tradition, and he simply said this to people. He said, "By the way, if they made it against the law to be a Christian, would there be any evidence to convict you?" Wow. Well, what if being kind was against the law? Would there be any evidence to convict you? If being smart and wise and compassionate was against the law, would there be any evidence to convict you? And I oftentimes ask myself the question, out there in the marketplace of ideas, of services, stuff, and the things we do, is there any evidence to convict us? That really people could point to, show to, and say, this demonstrates their wisdom and insight. This demonstrates the great customer experience they provide. This demonstrates how they stand behind their product. This is why they only do it this way. This demonstrates how they What's the evidence that you are different? So I ask you that question. What's the evidence that you have wisdom and insight that will be helpful and useful and practical to the client and customer and colleague and prospect that you're dealing with? Just thought I would ask. Now let's take a pause and continue asking the question, what is wisdom? Okay, I'm back as we talked a little bit about wisdom. And what I had to do is I had to change my glasses because I'm going to read you something, and my other glasses don't read so well, so I've got my reading glasses on. Kind of need that at this stage. Now, what is wisdom? Well, I'm actually going to take this reading from a man named Gene Peterson, who did a translation of the Christian scriptures and the Hebrew scriptures, and in the book of Proverbs, which is Proverbs of wisdom, he has a description of what wisdom might be. May I just take some time perhaps to read it to you? Wisdom is the art of living skillfully in whatever actual conditions we find ourselves. Okay? It has virtually nothing to do with information as such, with knowledge as such. A college degree is no certification of wisdom. Nor is it primarily concerned with keeping us out of moral mud puddles, although perhaps it might do just a little bit of that. Wisdom has to do with becoming skilled in honoring our parents and raising our children, handling our money and conducting our sexual lives, going to work and exercising leadership, using words well, and treating friends kindly, eating and drinking healthily, cultivating conditions within ourselves and attitudes toward others that lead to peace. That lead to peace. What does the world need now? Well, it certainly needs more love. But along with the love, there is wisdom. I'm actually going to say to you, and this means that it's not about how you do a profit and loss. If you want to have a successful life in business, you will seek these three qualities. You will seek to be a person of love. You both experience it and you give it. You will seek to be a person who has wisdom in their life and in their business. And you will have forgiveness. You will seek forgiveness when you're wrong, and you will give forgiveness when somebody has wronged you. Now, I want you, perhaps, now, to just perhaps stop the class right now, and stop the course right now, and I'd like you to say to yourself, what is wisdom? For me, what is the wisdom I have, and what is the wisdom that would be helpful and valuable and useful to the people I serve in my career and in my business? Would you take a little time to think about that right now? Now do you begin to see why I do short courses? Because what I learned from being a teacher and a radio broadcaster, the length and the breadth and the depth of learning does not take place because somebody is shooting off their mouth and putting all kinds of information and stuff out there. Learning takes place when you take information, knowledge, facts, figures, ideas, and you find a place and space that might work in your life. And that may take some time. As someone once said, Stan, your 30-minute course, I think, took me almost 7 hours because I had to think and I had to write. I even had to ask other people. So that's part of what this is all about. So I want you right now to say, you know what? It's probably true. The way I'm going to differentiate myself as an entrepreneur, as a financial planner, whatever it might be, even the fact that you fix cars. I had one man say to me, Stan, people think they're paying me to fix their car, and I charge them premium rates. And he says, what they don't realize is they're really paying me for the wisdom that I have on probably what's wrong with their car so I can do it much, much faster. Secondly, they're paying me for the trust that I provide and the honesty that I provide. They're paying me for the counsel and wisdom that I give them so that they can get more mileage, more use, and more valuable stuff out of their car. He said, they're not paying me to put a new part in their car. What they're paying me for is that, first of all, I deserve, because of what I have done, to be trusted. And trust is expensive. And it's the wisdom and the insight. And then he said with a smile, the fact that I also am smart enough and wise enough to treat them as the most important people in the world has something to do with my success. Because all of my competition has basically the same prices. All of my competition has the same parts that I get. All of my competition has the same tools and technologies that I have. But you know what? My competition doesn't have me and my demonstrated wisdom and insight. Now, I'm going to ask you to embrace that, and now I'm going to ask you to take another time out and do this. What is the source of your personal and professional wisdom? Where does it come from? Do you have any mentors? Do you have any heroes? Do you have any books? Where is the source of your wisdom and insight? Where do you get it? Now, one of the things I oftentimes say to people when I'm interviewing them for a position with me, or whether they want me to work with them, I will just simply say is, where do you get your stuff? Where do you get the stuff that goes into your life? Where does it come from? What are the influences? What's the incoming things that come into your life that make you who you are and what you do? Is it good income? Is it good stuff? What are the sources of your wisdom? Now, it's time for another time out. Let some of this stuff sit on your head for a while. Perhaps go back and play it again. And then tell me, what is the source of wisdom and insight and convictions that you have in your life and in your business? Now, again, demonstrated wisdom and insight, it can be demonstrated. You show it, you speak it, you write it, you perform it. It's not just something that sits in your head or comes from your heart. You have ways of expressing it. What are they? Do you write? Do you speak? Do you relate? How do you demonstrate your wisdom and insight? And the word conviction, comes from the word, a legal term, you've been convicted, you've been found guilty, and that's where I said, do you have evidence? But conviction also means something else. A conviction is a belief. Now, we hear a lot about values today, but what I have discovered is that the people who make the difference oftentimes use this word. You know, if you want to understand me and my business, you have to know what I believe, what is important to me. One of my clients and colleagues did this. She simply said to the people who were looking at her as perhaps a financial advisor, she said, you have to know that if you choose me, and I would be honored if you would, that you need to know that there are certain beliefs that guide the advice I give and the counsel I seek and what I may expect you to do. And so she said, may I take just a few minutes to share with you some of my convictions and my beliefs about this business. In fact, one of the best business cards you can actually have is a simple card that gives your name, your contact information, and a statement of belief. What do you believe? See, I want you to be able not only to have a source of wisdom, but a way to express your wisdom and some beliefs, because beliefs are the things that will affect your behavior, and behavior will affect the way you perform and the kind of value and the kind of experience your client or customer will have. That's vital. That's important. So what are your convictions? What are your beliefs? And can you demonstrate them? Can you show them? Can you express them? Now, again, as I say, please let that sit on your head for a while. And then perhaps you're beginning to see, and by the way, there's no road, there's no route, only perhaps through the brush of all the conflicting ideas, you're beginning to see a path. One of the ways I'm going to distinguish myself in my career and in my service is I'm going to go down this path. I'm going to become very good and very smart and very compassionate and be able to express this kind of wisdom to the people I want to influence and impact in my life and in my business. What is the wisdom path you are on right now? Would you tell me what that might be? I mean this. If you want to, I've worked with these people, thousands of successful people, and when it comes right down to it, they are men and women, usually of Renaissance interests. Not only are they good at their business, but they have lots of interests. And when you finally allow them to express themselves, you say, wow, there's some real wisdom there. There's some real insight there. You know what? Even if I didn't buy from them, even if I didn't use them, I think I'd still like to have them for a friend. There you go. So, think on these things. And then, after you've done that, let's kind of finish up and discover what kind of action we're going to take. Hello again. How you doing? You know, as I was putting this class together, I was thinking about one of my first clients many years ago. He was one of the gentlemen who was smart enough to sense the trends of the times, and he hired me to be his performance coach, his business coach, years before that was kind of the thing to do. When you would say, hey, I'm a business coach, most people say, what do you mean by that? Now, of course, there are hundreds, maybe thousands of people who are in that position. But what happened is that Mark had said to me, in effect, I want my business to grow. However, at the same time, I want to grow my influence, and because of that, I am going to become, hopefully, he said, the leader of our national association. and I want to express my leadership role in that. And that'll take a lot of time and a lot of energy, and I believe it'll be ultimately good for me and my business. It'll certainly be a way of paying back to the people who've been good to me, but I'm going to have somebody to help me work with my young staff so that we can all perform at our best. And the fact that I'm going to be gone for so many times, maybe a couple of weeks in a month, I need someone to help my business keep going well. And what happened was that Mark showed me why he was so successful in his business. And I remember a couple things, and I passed them on to you. First of all, Mark was in the health insurance business. Now, you talk about a commodity competitive business. Why, sometimes there's only a few insurance plans out there that might work for people in the health business. And this was long before the so-called Obamacare came into effect. And here's what he pointed out to me. He said, Stan, I want you to understand that the businesses who deal with me, obviously they get paid for, or they pay me, and I get paid for selling them insurance. But that's not really why I get a lot of my business. They know when I'm their insurance agent, I bring a lot more to the table. I've got all kinds of ideas to help them with their marketing, help them with their business, help them with their personnel issues. And here's the deal. He said, they pay me for the products and policies I place. That's how I get my paycheck. But what I really get paid for, and I get premium prices, is that they know that now I am not only their insurance agent, but I'm the person who will help them grow and care for their business and give them advice and counsel. And I said, you're kind of their wisdom guy. And he smiled and said, I like that. I like that. Well, you know what? I am now telling every company that you need to have a CWO, a Chief Wisdom Officer. There is so much stuff out there. You need somebody who takes the role because they love to do reading, they love to do research, they love to discover what's going on in the world, and they're the ones who help gather the wisdom and the insight that'll help make us more competitive in our marketplace, and they lead the way in teaching that to others so that all of the colleagues will have a certain amount of demonstrated wisdom and insight that they can bring into the marketplace. So think about your CWO, your Chief Wisdom Officer, and if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a freelancer, if you're a solo professional, that CWO is you. You have to be the person who has demonstrated wisdom and insight. Now, here's what you need to do. You need to attract people who appreciate wisdom and insight. One of the things I oftentimes tell people when they ask the question, how can I improve my business? I simply say, well, first of all, let's try and improve you. Because if we improve you, there's a good chance that'll improve the kind of experience that people have. And the more you improve, the more your business might improve. Because the business is you. People buy you. They can buy the products and services that you offer. They can buy the stuff from anybody. And because of the internet, they can probably buy it from nobody. Why should they buy it from you at perhaps a premium price unless they get something much, much more? The wisdom and the insight and the counsel that they can use and appreciate. Maybe even the friendship. I remember one guy said to me, Stan, I'll tell you one of the reasons I get a lot of business. He says, I'm just a good friend. I'm just a good friend. I listen. I care about them. I call them up. Sometimes I stop by just to see them even though I'm not trying to sell them anything. Think about that. Again, let that sit on your head and see if that's going to do something for you. Now, what I'm saying is, here's what happens. What you got is what you're going to get. If you've got wisdom and insight, if you've got all those qualities, those are the kind of people you attract. And the business of life is not to go out and find people. You certainly have to do that, but the business of life is to attract people. That your wisdom and insight and your reputation reaches out and people come to you. As I said, one of my good friends is a world-class car salesman. And he says to me this, Stan, I don't walk the floor anymore. Literally, I make an incredibly good living, but all of my customers are referrals. They're all recommendations. They're all people who were sent to me by other people. I don't have to stand around on the floor and try and ambush people and get them to buy a car. All the people come to me. And then we figure out how I can help them. And we go from there. One of the things important is to you is the kind of person you are, is the kind of clients you will get. So think about that. How would you like to do business with you? How would you like to do business with people just like you? Think about that. Are you the kind of person you would like to have for a client or customer? Well, wise, compassionate, thoughtful, bright, present, all of those qualities that go into a good life are the kinds of things you're trying to cultivate, because that will more and more be the kinds of people who will come into your life and into your business. So why do I say you need DWI convictions? Because you want to deal with people who have wisdom and insight and understand the value of that. So that's what I want you to understand. One of the principles that has guided my life, because my mentor taught it to me, he said, Stan, only 3% of the population know who they are. They know what they want out of life. They're working a plan. They're trying to discover their purpose, their meaning, their goals, and they're working a plan to try and bring that into their life. Only 3 people out of 100 are like that. And if you want to have those kinds of people for clients and customers, then you have to be one of those people. People do business with people they like. People do business with people like them. And so what I'm going to ask you to do now is to go back and listen to this again so that you can immediately start a way of being a person who is starting to accumulate a variety of DWI convictions. That's what I want for you. Now, you can always get in touch with me. That's what teaching and students are all about. You can teach me things. I can teach you things. You have my contact information. Please contact me. I'm always happy to make personal coaching and contact with all of my students from around the world. Please take advantage of that. So there you go, stan@stanhusted.com. I want all the best for you. And if you do some of these things, many of the good and best things will come to you. Now, thank you for your time. Now, if you want to start a project, some of you say, Stan, give me something to do, to take this action stuff and actually do an activity or a project. Many of you want that. Well, if you want that, stay tuned, because next it is, now we're going to just do it. And I'll give you some recommendations on what you can do for your how to acquire and how to communicate your DWI convictions.